Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining me for this WNCT Now digital news update. I'm Emily Severidge, live in our digital studio. Here at 9 on Your Side, we're continuing to track COVID-19 cases statewide and across the East. Health experts are saying yet another grim record has been reached. Experts say there were 98,691 people hospitalized with COVID in the United States as of Tuesday. That number was up from Monday's record high of 93,238 patients. Nearly 37,000 Americans have died of COVID-19 in November alone. This comes after the nation's top disease experts warned that the U.S. may see a surge of the coronavirus in the weeks following Thanksgiving. Health experts don't expect current recommendations around social distancing to be relaxed before Christmas. Now, the Center of Disease Control and Prevention is set to shorten the recommended length of quarantine. The new guidelines will allow people who have come into contact with someone infected with the virus to resume normal activity after 7 to 10 days if they received a negative test result. That's down from the original 14-day recommendation since the beginning of the pandemic. Officials say the change has been discussed for some time as they've realized most people become infected and develop symptoms between 4 and 5 days after exposure. The CDC is also urging Americans to stay home for the holiday season. But if you do decide to travel, they say you should get tested for COVID before and after traveling. Health experts say this is the best way to stay safe and protect others. It's the same advice they gave before the Thanksgiving weekend, but many Americans traveled anyway, causing another rise in cases and deaths across the country. During a news briefing, the CDC said travelers should consider being tested 1 to 3 days before their trips and again 3 to 5 days after they've returned home. They also recommend reducing non-essential activities for a full week after travel or for 10 days if not tested afterwards. Stay with us, and we'll be right back with some more news after this short break.
Reporters are all across the East and in your neighborhood.
In Tarboro,
in Kinston,
in Greenville,
at Atlantic Beach.
Covering local stories that impact you.
The groundbreaking ceremony is the beginning of construction for Morehead City's 4th City Hall.
People from all over the state of North Carolina gathered at the Sycamore Hill Missionary Baptist Church.
Historic Turnage Theater in Washington helps the community celebrate art and culture.
See their original reporting weekdays on 9 on Your Side News.
Thanks so much for joining me. If you're just tuning in, I'm Emily Severidge, live in our digital studio, bringing you some late afternoon updates. WNCT is bringing you live streamed updates every Monday through Friday at 1:30 p.m. and 4 o'clock p.m. to bring you the latest and up-to-date news before our nightly newscast. The government has decided that when it comes to air travel, your furry little friend may not be able to fly with you anymore. Officials say only dogs can be considered service animals, and companions used for emotional support no longer count. The Transportation Department issued a final ruling today that aims to settle years of tension between airlines and passengers who bring their pets on board for free by saying they need them for emotional support. For years, airlines allowed animals with passengers who had a doctor's note saying the animal was for emotional support. Airlines, however, believe passengers abused the rule to bring a menagerie of animals on board, including cats, turtles, pigs, and in one case, a peacock. The agency said in a statement today that they're rewriting the rules because passengers bringing unusual animals on board eroded the public trust in legitimate service animals. Our sister station in Arkansas has more on this story.
Days of passengers bringing their pets on airlines could soon come to an end.
It's been like Noah's Ark.
Airlines say passengers are going overboard after folks started claiming dogs, cats, even pigs, rabbits, miniature horses, and peacocks are their service animals or emotional support animals. This helps them avoid a $125 pet fee.
The dogs and cats will be okay, but all this other stuff I think is a little bit too far out.
Wednesday, the Department of Transportation proposed new rules where emotional support animals are not service animals. Only trained dogs to help people with disabilities will be allowed in passenger cabins, and a psychiatric service animal would be required to have training.
I think it's a step in the right direction. I mean, people are abusing, what they consider service animals.
This may be helpful for Sharon Giovinazzo, who is blind and has a hearing impairment. She depends on her service dog, Watson.
Stop it! It's putting people who legitimately need the service animal to provide a service for them. It's putting everybody at risk. It's putting the general public at risk.
He's had 18 months of training, but it becomes a problem sometimes with other pets. She tells us Watson has been attacked multiple times before by other emotional support dogs.
But it was a distraction, and if I would have been in a situation where I would have been unsafe, it could have been, I could have got seriously hurt as a result of that.
A family in Winston-Salem no longer feels safe after a man reached through an open window, grabbing their sleeping 14-year-old daughter in the middle of the night. It happened around 2:30 a.m. on October 28th. According to Winston-Salem police, the suspect used a chair to reach into the child's open window while she was sleeping. When the girl saw him, he noticed her eyes were open, reached in and grabbed her, and that's when she screamed. Tanisha Washington said her daughter's yells for help scared the person away. While the man has not yet been identified, he was captured on a nearby home security camera that night. During a neighborhood canvass, police discovered objects placed below 2 other homes the same night. Washington says her daughter is now traumatized and scared of everything. She says she's upset that man's brief actions caused a life-lasting impression on her. Washington has since installed a security system and cameras for peace of mind. Anyone with any information are asked to contact the Winston-Salem Police Department. Well, that wraps up this WNCT Now late afternoon update. We have more news coming up for you tonight on our broadcast at 5 and 6. Thanks so much for watching.